Today we're going to be looking at how ammo penetration works on different surfaces. I'm going to do my best to try to explain my theories kind of behind how ammo penetration works per caliber. I'm going to start off with a pistol just to kind of show you guys a few things that might be accurate. Hopefully it is, but this is kind of just theory. And the most effective way to do it is in the shooting range in arena. So I'm starting off with a really low penetration round. What they said before relating to how plate armor works down the game is that the caliber determines how fast it like shreds through plate armor or penetrates specific, material. You might see a few bullet holes just because I've been messing around already. So, and you can't really clear the bullet holes off of surfaces that are not targets. Like these kind of targets, the yellow targets or the white ones. Quake makers, it can penetrate through even like a thin metal sheet. So this round will go straight through the wall. Even it, and it's weird because it depends on like what spot on the wall you hit. So it's very inconsistent, I think, because maybe it has a chance to penetrate the wall, which kind of seems to be the case. I'd say most metal sheet is probably about like a tier 1 plate basically. So something like this. And I think even like wooden boxes might even have a higher penetration rating. So what I mean by that is most wood resources, I think, have maybe about like a 20 tier 2 plate kind of penetration rating. Because it doesn't seem like when I shoot through a wood box, even on the outer corner, it doesn't really go through with Quake Makers. It doesn't go through at all. If you shoot any metal frame, it's not going to necessarily go through the frame at all, which is kind of interesting. I've not tried shooting through the frame with PNB, so we're going to do that in a moment. Also, if you shoot really close to the edge of some kind of metal frame or most kind of frames, usually the round will kind of go through somehow. I feel like the further out you shoot the round, the higher chances are of it potentially penetrating it. Again, it doesn't really apply with this kind of metal frame though. So we'll see if anything can kind of penetrate this metal frame at some point. So if I reload the mag just to kind of show you guys what this looks like. Again, now I have PNB in my gun. So if I shoot through here, it should go through pretty much every time because the rating for PNB ammunition for 9x19 is 38. So it has a much higher penetration and is the best round you could possibly get in arena, at least for 9x19 ammunition. Goes through pretty much every single time. This still doesn't even go through the corner here. When it comes down to these metal targets, it does not go through the metal target. This wooden box, it does go through all the way. It's really tough to tell because it's very subtle. You can kind of see there how the bullet goes straight through. So this will penetrate most boxes. These bullets went away. That's cool. So basically, when we go through shooting through a metal surface, this does go all the way through and even out the other side of the truck. I don't know if it goes continuously through, but sometimes I've seen, in areas like Bay 5, how sometimes you'll shoot through some of these crates, and they'll go through quite a few crates before they end up, falling off. I take what I say with a grain of salt, because even with Quake Maker rounds, it still doesn't penetrate completely through the corner of something like wood. So I would really be careful with like lower penetration. I would say just go for higher penetration if you plan to shoot through a surface. But again, if we have a very thin surface like this, the chances of penetrating the wall are not non-existent, but they're very low. But we'll see if any of the other weapons can shoot through even some of these kind of white metal targets. Now when it comes to this is AK-102, now this is it's 5.56 ammunition, and it's 8.55 A1. So this is very high penetration. Yeah, so it has 44 penetration. So it's a little bit higher than PNB. Again, with PNB we had 38 penetration, but this is technically a bigger caliber. Now, when I go ahead and shoot this frame, it should just go straight through like normal. And it should go through every single time, technically, because of how high the penetration is. Even with this metal frame, with 556, 855A1, it's still not even going through. Even at the very end of it, it's still not penetrating it. So I don't know if this has crazy high penetration, but I assume that there's some things that just can't be penetrated. Like this still cannot be shot through. I wonder if we could do that with really high caliber rounds. Comes to wood, we shouldn't have a problem here. Goes straight through. Comes down to metal, should go straight through as well, out the other side. So 556, 855A1 should be looking good. I'm going to start going through these a little bit faster since you guys probably understand kind of how this process works. Okay, now I'm going to go for HP rounds. These have 7 penetration. I'm just going to go for the highest penetration value that I could possibly have, again, in arena compared to the lowest penetration for a specific caliber. As we can see with lowest penetrating rounds here, it still doesn't go through every time. It does hit sometimes with HP rounds, but overall, still a 7 penetration, 556. It doesn't go through the whole thing. And we hit a spot like wood here. It sounds like it does go through. So let's go and try this wooden surface here. But it doesn't go through like a very thick box or anything. Probably goes through something like a tire. Yep, we can see the metal there. Yep, it is going through a tire at least. So you can shoot through, I guess, very simple surfaces. It comes down to this metal surface here. Let's see, let's aim for this side. It doesn't go through every time, but sometimes it'll go through the entire thing, which is kind of nice. Moving on to 7.62, I'm going to go for HP rounds first, and then go for higher penning ammo. So with 7.62 HP, man, that's crazy. Still not penning every time. It's still the same thing. The lower the penetration value still, the less likely it is to go through a surface. Which is kind of interesting. It is going through the wood at least a few times. It's not every single time. It's quite often though. Quite often it's going through still. It's quite a lot. Is this right? Yeah, HP runs. Okay. It might not be every single time. Yeah, it's not every time, but it's quite often it'll go through 2 surfaces. So even with HP rounds, it's still pretty good with 7.62. Now if I go for BP rounds, let's go ahead and see what it's looking like. It should just pen every single time here. Yep. Yeah, so I think we can kind of safely conclude that when it comes down to penetration, it depends on the caliber as well as the penetration value. Again, with BP, you have 47 penetration, which is pretty high. You're almost going through tier 5. Let's see if we can go through this. Still can't go through this metal frame, which is kind of interesting. I won't even go through that. Just an invincible metal frame. Comes down to this. Still can't go through this. These maybe are designed to not be penetrable. So comes down to the box. Should be every time. When it comes down to metal, should be pretty straightforward. Should be every single time. So shouldn't have any problem there. If anything, it might even go through multiple sources of metal. I see here these bullets go through. Yeah, they even continuously go through the other side here. I think that as the bullets travel through different surfaces, it probably lowers the chance of penetration as well. So there could be a chance where you don't go straight through, you know, the box a few times. You might have to shoot it a few times for the bullet to potentially penetrate both sources that you're trying to shoot through. And when it comes down to shotguns, I'm going to start with Flechette rounds and see what the penetration is. Again, with Flechette rounds, we have 31 penetration, so it goes through tier 3. Flechette is just a nasty round. I'm going to try out rip rounds after that. It has 2 penetration with really high damage. but it is a shotgun, so we'll see if it makes a difference at longer ranges, short ranges, and what's going on. Again, starting off here, we have Flechette. Let's go and see if we can go. Should be able to easily go through this wall. Pretty easily. Do this. Wouldn't really make a difference. Yeah, I figured. I should be able to go through wood boxes. More than likely. A double wood box, or a thick wood box. It's looking pretty good. Comes down to the truck. I assume it should penetrate as well. Not all of the bullets penetrated, looks like. It's like a good chunk of them do. But not all of them will go straight through, which is interesting. It comes down to the double metal box. It looks like it'll penetrate through just the first box, but it doesn't go through the second one. Okay, we only got rip in here now. See if it'll go through even this. Nope. Let's just unload. Not a single one. I'm gonna reload more. It's a 7-rounder. Not a single one. So penetration definitely matters a lot more than caliber, at least through surfaces. It comes down to the wood box. I would really be surprised if that ended up actually working. I don't think any of those rounds would penetrate through there. And when it comes down to this, I don't think it's going to penetrate at all. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, so if you have like little to no I'm not even going to try the double metal box. When it comes down to penetration value, it definitely matters a little bit more than caliber. I think obviously the two run hand in hand here. Now, I was going to do 5.45 ammunition, throw in some PS, and BP, and kind of try those out a little bit. But I think it's the same thing as 5.56 ammunition, where again we have low penetrating rounds will go through thin surfaces. They won't go through kind of thicker boxes, but they will penetrate sometimes here and there, depending on the surface that you're shooting through. And then with BP rounds, you're probably going to go through even the double metal boxes. I'll at least try that one out. Come over here to try double metal. We can see the ricochet flying off here. It definitely has to be going through sometimes. Yeah, it's definitely hitting this back part here. So again, I think it's the same thing where not all the bullets will penetrate through, but a good chunk of them look like they made it through out of all the bullets I shot here. Let's see how many we can get through. Just a few. It doesn't really look like it's a whole lot of bullets that will go through both metal surfaces here. To be honest, I'm not going to do every single caliber because there's a lot. So I think that kind of moving up, because I think with APSX or MP7s, I think, you know, this caliber isn't very small, but the penetration is high. So I assume it's kind of the same rules as 5.56, where you're going to see double penetration through the metal crates. With the higher penetration rounds, with subsonics or subsonic, you'll see that it will only penetrate through probably just one metal surface, not through both. We'll try out 9x39 though and see how the VSS works. Lowest round we can get for 9x39 is going to be SP5, so let's give that a shot. Okay, load an SP5. Again, it has 28 pens, so I assume it's going to be pretty good. Pretty much every time. Do thin, box. You can see the spot in the back. It's hitting pretty much every time. Comes down to the metal. Every time. Let's see double. It goes through a little bit, I think. I think this is the leftover from the 5.45, so I don't think it's going through both. I think it's barely going through the first one, actually. I actually have SP6 and my other mags. We should see, again, penetration every single time there. Comes down to this. Obviously doesn't go through. Here. Easily goes through. Here. Easily goes through. I have more SP6 in here. We're seeing it go through the first one a good chunk. Like a little frowny face. It doesn't look like it goes straight through though. So with 9x39, it looks like the caliber is too small to go through two metal boxes. Now I have a bolty of the T5000. With the T5000, I'm gonna go ahead and put in Ultra Nosler. Let's go ahead and see what this guy's looking like, because it's a pretty high caliber with 15 pin. So we'll see if it even should. I would guess it would go through at least this. Wow, that's crazy. The caliber does not go through that thin surface. Again, it's just a chance based because of the low penetration. It comes down to the box. Let's try the box. That's crazy. Not even through a box. That's nuts. Double metal, almost no point to even try. I don't think it's gonna go through ever. Didn't go through a single time. Even though it's 7.6 or 7.62 by 51, it's still not going through, which is crazy. And I just go straight for M61s. Again, this has 60. I think it was 64 pin. Yeah, 64 pin. That's crazy. Should easily pin this every time. Oops. Just missed. I really hope it pins through this frame. No way. This frame is just invincible. That's insane. We got the box. You can see the spark in the back. Easily goes through. Did not go through that one time. Should go through pretty much every time. We got the metal here. Every time. We got the double box. Let's go ahead and crouch here this time. And I think it's penetrating almost every single time. And it looks like a good chunk is going out the other side. So, get high pen, high caliber rounds. We'll still kind of go through multiple surfaces. It kind of makes me think twice about how many of these rounds were either, I don't know if it was a glitch and ricocheting off this side, even though you technically couldn't hit that with a ricochet. Because I wasn't seeing bullet holes going through this side, but with this round I am. So I might say that you can't maybe shoot through two metal boxes other than if you have like really high penetration. Alright guys, last but not least, we have the Lapua. I'm going to throw some AP in there. I'm not even going to try the FMJ here. You know what, I'll try the FMJ just to kind of show what kind of penetration it might potentially have. Even with just simple FMJ, which I guess isn't very simple for the Lapua. Does it go through the frame though? Does not. I wonder if the AP is going to go through the frame. Probably won't. Has to go through the box. There's no way. No way. Is it just like a visual glitch? There we go. Yeah, should be going through every single time. Pretty sure it should. It has 47 pen, so should be pretty good still. When it comes down to the truck, go through pretty easily, probably every time. Okay, let's try the double metal. Actually doesn't go through the double metal every time. Which is kind of crazy. It went through a couple times, but not every single time. And it's very like buggy. You can't really see every bullet that goes through. We got AP 79 penetration. It's just insane. I'm not even gonna try this wall, but I really want to try the frame. Hey, there we go. It goes through the frame. You just have to get Lapua Magnum with AP rounds for it to go through the frame. I don't even think it goes through every time either. It doesn't go through every time, but it goes through a few times. I think I'm shooting it straight. Yeah, it doesn't go through every time, but it goes through a good chunk of the time. It comes out of the box. It's obvious it's going to go through the box. Metal, it's obviously going to go through the metal, but really what we want to see is the double metal here. I want to see how often it goes through. There's no way it doesn't go through every time. Does it matter where you hit on the side of the box? Is it because there's a concrete box in there? There's no concrete on that side, so it should go through completely. That's interesting. I think it's almost just chance based. I feel like when you're trying to penetrate through multiple layers of metal. Again, a lot of it's theory basically, so it's not fact, but it's just something to quickly kind of demonstrate how a lot of this penetration works. If you guys have been watching, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed this content. I think it's pretty informative. Just know that if you're using 9x19, don't even try to shoot through a thin surface even, just because your bullets will just not go through. Even thin metal walls like on Chop Shop and things like that. Let me know in the comments below if you guys wanted to see any more calibers. I covered quite a lot of them, but if you guys would want to see any more of this, just let me know in the comments. Good luck in arena and have a great rest of your day, guys. Have a good one.